Okay, now what it is we've got here is this is a tutorial or a quick video on how to use the bloody proposal tool inside Energy Periscope. First, I'll let you know that I'm making this video at Kirk's request, the request of everyone else. I'm not necessarily a big fan on having everybody do the proposals or the proposals the way they do it. I would like to do it every night at 8 o'clock and just do the ones 8 o'clock Pacific time and do the ones that are scheduled for the next day and use the information that is input into Zen. I have a form out there on the web to fill out. If you want a proposal that's not on that schedule, it'll be done at 8 o'clock and ready for the next day as well. But we've had a few requests for some people that need proposals like right this bloody second, and this video is supposed to be servicing those. Now, just so you know, if you think the reason I want to keep the proposals to myself is because I'm just some type of person that doesn't want to share information, or if you think that I'm thinking that it's too complicated for you, then you're completely and totally wrong. The reason that I would like to keep the proposals done in-house is for the same reason that you build a fence around your ranch. It's hard to account for all your cattle if they're not all in one spot. You can't tell which ones are sick, which ones are old, which ones are big, which ones are young, which ones are pregnant, if they're not where they're supposed to be. And if you're out there and you run a proposal and you run 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 proposals for a customer, you guys settle on any one particular proposal as what it is that you want to agree with. And for whatever reason, and there's a million reasons that this could happen, but if for whatever reason you don't call the office and let us know that you ran a custom proposal and give us the numbers, etc., of that proposal, or at least upload it and pin it to the system saying, this is the one the customer went. And don't tell me you're going to do it every time, because eventually someone's going to slip. It's just the nature of the world. But the minute you do, and the customer calls the home office and says, well, yeah, the salesman X rated my system at 105%, and that's the system I want, and we're looking at our system and our proposal shows 80% or 85%. That's the reason why I'm not big on passing out the proposals, is the chance for data to slip through the cracks and not come into the system and not be governed the way it's supposed to is huge. It opens a massive liability. But, it's out of my control. So here we go. Here's what you're going to need to know. First, this is your login information. If you need to write it down, click pause on the video, write it down. It should be out there on the Google Drive underneath Clean Power Logins. There you go. That's Energy Periscope. In Energy Periscope, you go to the Job Manager. In the Job Manager, you'll see this section here, and I'll get to the front end right about now, because you will go to the dash of the Job Manager, and the dash of the Job Manager will look a little like this. You'll have active leads and you'll have new jobs. What I do is I go to the ZenCall Manager and I look at this list. My calendar says it's the 11th, so I will be doing all the appointments that are set up for the 12th tonight at 8 p.m. Pacific. I will do all the Colorado ones and then all the California ones by the numbers that are input in the system. Anything extraneous should be run through the form. But like I said, for those of you who are impatient, here's how to do it over Energy Periscope. Go back to there, add a new job. With the new job comes down this. The job reference number is the customer's name, just like this. Job source depends upon where the leads go. Most of our leads coming from Ryan Miller's canvassing effort, so we put Ryan Miller's canvassing effort. Down here, we duplicate the name again, like so. Position we don't worry about. Phone number we do worry about. Email if we have it. Company we don't worry about. Address. This is important. I get lots and lots of proposals, probably 1 in every 10. I don't get a street address for it. It's very hard to do it without a street address, and it looks unprofessional. Every once in a while, we like to look at the roof from space using Google Earth. Very hard to do without an address. But you put that in there. Let's do the city. You know, I understand that in your world, everything is in Colorado or everything is in California. In my world, I have to bounce between the two. So I really do appreciate it if you take the time to list the city, the state, and yes, the zip code. I know in your world, you know, if you live in Colorado, you could probably name off the 8 neighboring zip codes off the top of your head. I don't live in Colorado, so that's not really, yeah, not really anything that I can do. This is the first page. Fill this out just like you've seen there. You see all this stuff? Yay. You're going to select the button that says PV because it is a photovoltaic system. We're not worried about any of this other stuff, or at least not just yet. If you have to worry about it, you'll know about it at the time. However, if it's not already on your plate, if you have to think about it, then obviously you don't need to check it. Otherwise, it'll say pool, wind, spa, energy storage, all that stuff on there. You'll know that ahead of time. If you, like I said, if that's a question, obviously the answer is a no. Your next thing you want to do is your energy utility. With the energy utility tab, this is a little tricky because you want to select the utility. Over there in Colorado, most of your utility is going to be Excel or Intermountain, or at least that I've seen. After you select it, the screen will refresh and you'll have this down here. Do you see these zeros? That's not good. We don't want zeros. We will not run a report with zeros. We will go down here to estimate from cost. In cost, this will allow you to set how much a month that person is spending on their electric bill. Just for grins, I'm going to say my electric bill is $200. It's not what it is, but I'm going to say $200. The price is at 15 cents a watt. Now, if somebody tells you, you know, that they've got, what is it, 24,000, and that's their kilowatt usage for the year, well, then we just divide that by 12. Simple as that. If they give you a regular kilowatt, it says if they give you a regular kilowatt usage, you do it by 12, and then you, what is it, multiply it by 15 cents or 0.15, and that will give you the number to put in there. There are 3 different ways to reverse engineer that. Once you put that in, you must click this button to get the estimate, because if you see here it's talking about $101, we put in $200. We want this to say $200, we do that by getting this. Pow. It takes a second, refreshes the screen, pow, 201. Great. Now that we have that there, it tells us what our kilowatt usage is. This is important. You have to push or load those results to the job. Pow. Now we can close this little estimator, and it's all in there the way it's supposed to be. We can move on to the next tab. We do not worry about efficiency. Efficiency and customize are 2 areas where we do not have to worry about it. We move straight to PV. PV, photovoltaic, which is the type of system we're building. That means, you know, black solar panels on the roof. We're not dealing with turning stuff to steam or water tubes or compressors or any of that other good stuff. Q-Cell is the manufacturer that we normally sell. 260 watt solar panels are the panels we normally sell. This is our default. I've set it up this way to be our default. Solar Edge Technologies, an inverter at 7,600 watts at 240 volts is pretty much so standard. A little hint, pretty much so every home in the United States, the power comes in off the pole at 240 volts. So if you're talking about 208 volts, or you're talking about something different, you're probably rating in a different country. Anyways, your tilt is 30 degrees, your azimuth is 180 degrees. That just means you're putting it south. This, your mounting gap, this is where you select what type of mount the solar system is. Your 3-inch air gap is your standard roof mount. You have a direct mount, you have a roof gap, you have a 6-inch air gap, and you have a ground mount option there. It doesn't affect the price too much, which actually kind of bothers me. If you have to mess with shade, here it is. You put it in per month. Normally I just leave it at 100% because most people are either in a spot where they get very good coverage on their roof, or if we ask them to, they can cut the trees down. This is the important part down here. The third from the bottom square. 1, 2, 3. Federal tax credit, 30% off gross installation. That's what we want. We're done with this tab. That's right. The only thing we really needed to do here was to make sure this was good, make sure our mount was good, and make sure we select the 30% off tax credit. We go to optimize, which will tell us what our PV system is. It'll give us projections as it were. Okay, great. Down here, it'll show us our bar walking across. When it'll show us our coverages right here, 11% coverage of the utility bill or the electric bill, 28%, 45%, 62%, 78%, 95%, which is really good at about 34 panels, 112% at 40 panels. I do not know how things are in Colorado, but in California, you do not want to go over 110%. It creates a huge snafu. Normally, the systems we install are slightly hotter than what's on the proposal. So if you rate a proposal at 105% and we push over that 5% amount when we're designing the system to be permitted, and it goes over the 110, the power company has the right to deny us. They have a right to cause us a whole headache of sweet things. Plus, if we go over 110%, we lose the federal tax credits and we lose the ability to write it off as home improvement loan, to have the interest, the ability to write off the interest against the house payment. So it's very important. So if you ever ask how come we don't rate a home at 100%,